We shall start from the quote from the Tanya, and this is on page Kuf Mem Zayin. The line starts with the word Hanivroim, which is 8 lines from the top, 7 lines from the top. The highest of all worlds is from the Sovev. Although the Pnimi is what identifies each one of the Nivroim and gives it its place, but this is not what provides for its existence. This is not what provides for its ability to persist. This is from the Sovev. And at the end of this line, as he writes in Tanya, the Rebbe says in Tanya the following words. As we're going to read, we've already learned it. As we're going to read, we're going to try to focus in and understand what is this actually telling us. How is this explain what it's trying to tell us? Shidiyose Yisborich, the Hashem's knowledge, knowing, Ma sheyodeas haaretz halazu, the fact that he knows this earth, Hagashmi, this physical, tangible earth. Hu chayus, this knowledge, this knowing, this is the chayus, this is the life force, this is sustenance, kol oive hakadur, the entire thickness, translate literally, hakadur of this ball, of this globe, kuli, totally, through and through. This is what gives presence to the globe, to the earth globe. Can we understand this? How this, what the significance of this is, how this is possible? Hashem's knowing it. This is what gives it a presence, a physical presence. And this is the essence, the basis of his havusai, of its coming to being, me'ayin liyesh, from a non-presence to a yesh, to a literally present, to a real yesh, something that speaks for itself. So if you want to give this some meaning, some personal meaning, when we say that the earth came into being, me'ayin liyesh, where did that being materialize? What is the environment into which this being came to be? In order to have a globe, an earth, you have to have that which provides for it. To translate these words, to our level, to our thinking process. We have a house. A house is merely a demarcation of a certain place, certain area. So the house should stand just on its own, without an owner. Nothing is going to happen. The house can stand there and rot away into nothingness. When it acquires an owner, the whole spirit of the house changes overnight. And it changes to the extent that now, looking at this house, you're projecting, as you're looking at it, you're projecting all the furnishings that are going to be ultimately populating it, and all the people that are going to benefit from it, and all the things that's going to happen here, all the way to every bar mitzvah and every bris and everything. What is this conjure up? I'd like we should understand, conjure up in our understanding and our thinking. Yes, indeed, the house is a physical structure, and it takes up physical space on earth. But what is the real chayus? What it really makes it be that you're going to populate it, you're going to use it? And it's going to become a rich area. It's going to be a housing for furnishings and for people. That is when the human being acquires its, identifies himself with this house. This is my house. The human spirit is what ultimately creates, makes out of this vacant, insignificant space a home. And it populates his home with everything that the home needs. The world, the Rambam says we have to always remember, the first principle is to know that there is a first being who provides for all existence. This first being is way beyond anything that manifests itself in worldly experience. This first being has no manifest presence. We spoke many times, if you think about the term first being, already we're kind of taken aback. What's mean the first
To remain
being?
on this call, press 1.
Which is my phone? This is my phone, right?
That's your phone.
Okay, I'm responding to this. This first being is nondescript, is a non-entity in our terminology. When he decides to identify himself, to recognize, to keep cognizance that there is a being, there is such thing as being. This is when he says, okay, I want to create. I want that my presence should be known. This intent that His presence should be known, this is the basis for all existence. All existence is representative of the divine presence. Divine presence is in a completely different, is not identifiable. But then, when Hashem decided to create the world, and He identified He wants an earth, He wants a Shemayim, He wants a sun, and wants a whatever it is, then these things sprung into presence, into existence. And they continue to represent the fact that He wants them. This is the significance of their existence. Because the primary existence, is completely source beyond existence. His first being, the divine reality. Everything that exists is a manifestation of the divine reality. It's not real in its own sense. And this is what the Alter Rebbe says. Hashem's knowing of the earth, this is what gives the earth a presence. And this is what gives it a chayas. And this is what gives it a significance. And what gives it a purpose. The initial knowing of the earth, the divine knowing of the earth, included all the richness that the earth represents. And then it came to a manifest state and revealed when the Rebbe actually said, let the earth produce, let the earth produce. The earth will produce because the earth already contains that ability to produce. Rashi says in the Chumash that all the creatures, all the plants, everything were already included in the earth in its initial creation. Now, Hashem's knowing of the earth contained everything that the earth can possibly have. But it was there concealed within the body of the earth. And then when Hashem said, let it come, so they broke through the ceiling, the earthiness, and they came out. I want to propose a certain thought process. When you see a tree growing from the earth, it does not elicit some kind of wonder. Where does this come from? What's going on over here? How does a tree have the chutzpah to stand on this earth? It's a perfect merge, a perfect union. The earth does not feel that is being usurped by the tree. On the contrary, the more the better.
Oxygen.
Sorry?
The more the better. Oxygen. More oxygen. Yeah. Oxygen.
The earth has capacity for anything that any place that you can put a plant, a tree to, and then some. You can never exhaust the earth. Because the koyach of the earth to sustain physical life, plant life, and then thereby give sustenance to all the animals, is a divine koyach. Is a source in the initial statement. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'es ha'oretz. Everything that persisted afterwards in developing it and revealing all this is only revealing that which was contained in the initial statement, Shamayim v'Oretz. And this is why in our mind, the human mind who is the human being who is a full representation of the intent of the creation. To him, the fact that the earth produces vegetation and sustains life is a natural, a perfectly well unified concept. And this is why we say, when we see a tree growing, a house standing on earth, it fits perfectly into environment. On Mars, what is it? It doesn't belong there at all. On Mars, it can never take life, a sense of life, sense of reality. No matter how long it's going to stand, it's going to be just a frame without significance. Because on earth there is the divine spirit that the earth is a sustained life. And anything that develops on earth belongs there. This is the pshat in we're learning. Hashem's knowing of the creation. This is its reality. This is what gives it a place in the divine will, in the divine truth. And this is why it's real. Because the real existence, for instance, is the Motzei Yishem. It's all from Meibash's presence. And then the Rebbe gave the right to the earth, for the earth to be, and the human beings who crawl on it. Okay. So therefore, in the context that we're learning, the Rebbe points out, this knowledge that the Rebbe knows of the earth, in what category would we put it? In or pnimi or makif? So this is a bit, it's a valid question. Why? Because in this knowledge that the Rebbe knows the earth, he does not merely know that there is an earth. He knows every detail of the earth. All its capacity. He knows exactly how thick and deep the earth, how many miles it can go and into its depth, and what its capacity is, everything. This is all there because of this knowledge. This sounds like an own pnimi. And here is where we have to understand the difference between pnimi and makif. He knows everything, but knowledge itself is a makif quality. And this is why we're saying that the real essence of the existence of Yesh is from makif.
What do you mean by makif itself as a...
What?
What do you mean by knowledge itself as a makif quality?
knowledge in our world begins from chokhmah or from sight. What transpires? What makes you see what you see? Isn't it amazing? The answer is nothing. Just the truth of its existence. You don't know, you don't see because you're getting involved with what you see.
Same with knowledge?
Yes. Sight is the beginning of knowledge. That's chokhmah. This is what enables knowledge.
Knowledge sounds like bina, but okay.
That's right. Bina comes from chokhmah. But what enables bina?
The enabler is makif, but the thing itself seems to be pnimi.
No, yes, the thing it's itself it's pnimi, but what enables this pnimi is the makif. If you dissociate bina from chokhmah, you have nothing.
Mm. So you may want to say that knowledge itself is pnimi. What enables it is makif.
Okay, but the essence of its chayas is makif.
Okay.
Now we can go inside a little bit. We have another few minutes. Hare, okay, we are at the end of the line that we went to. The line begins with the words as haaretz. Hare, thus we see from this quote from the Alter Shehachayus shalevi hakadur, that the chayus, the sustenance. I'm trying to learn. I'm learning as to this expression. Chayus, the existence of everything in the world is chayus. It's not a physical presence. It's the divine sustenance, divine will that it should be.
Existence, so you're saying existence indicates chayus, even by doimim.
That's right. Absolutely.
We wouldn't say in English that the rock is alive, but here what are we saying?
What gives chayus, what gives presence to the rock? The world does not have this understanding, this knowledge. But the truth is, the rock exists because the Rebbe allows it to be.
He wants it here, and that's its life, that's the chayus.
And that is life. Because the reality of the earth is Hashem's will. The world does not exist but for Hashem's will.
Yeah.
That's what the earth represents. This is what we're learning. Now we're going even deeper, and I'm going to, before we do, just want to warn us. Hare, thus we see. Okay, for those who are looking inside, the line begins with the word as haaretz, and at the end of that line, Hare, therefore we see. From the Tanya, quote, Shachayus, that the chayus, the sustenance. And the reason we say chayus is because there is no fundamental existence in anything but for the fact that the Rebbe wants it. So it's all really a divine reality. There's no worldly reality in essence. The divine will is what allows world to be. There is no stripped down, pure worldly reality. There's no such thing. Because world does not make itself. Hadith thus, That the highest of the whole thickness of this ball, of this globe, it is from Hashem's knowing. The Yasa is born. Okay, now this goes. I said this goes a step deeper. Please listen to this. The Yasa is born. What Hashem's knowledge, knowing, what is this knowledge represent? What does it mean? He knows. He knows, and externally he observed it from a distance. He knows it. What does it mean? He knows it. The Rebbe explains. Okay, but this is pretty draining on us. Hashem's knowledge, who it is, Mashividias Atzmoi. It is that fact that Bidias Atzmoi, knowing himself, Yodeyas and Nivroim, he knows the creatures. Knowing himself, there cannot be anything more real than that. Himself, this is the reality itself. By knowing himself, he knows all the creatures. This is what gives the creatures such a reality. The creatures are real, absolutely real, because they represent Hashem's reality. And Hashem knows himself. This is how the creatures are. This is what the creatures are. By knowing himself, this is how he knows the Nivroim. He does not find out the Nivroim by stumbling upon them. He knows them from their inception, from himself. The Hainu, so you thought that this is it? No, you go a step further. Hainu, the Hainu, which is Haidiya Sheba'atzmus, the idea that is really part and parcel of the Atzmus, of Atzmus itself. In Atzmus itself, there is the need for knowing of that which Atzmus wants. This is an internal knowledge within Atzmus itself. And by Hashem knowing this knowledge of himself, this is how all the creatures came to be.
It seems like usually we say stuff like, by his desire he made the world. But here, we seem to have no creation of world. We just sort of have him, and he knows himself, and thus world becomes manifest.
His desire is what created the internal knowledge.
As if to say, he didn't set out to make a world per se. He's just being himself.
Yep.
And by means
the world represents what Hashem wants. Wanting, as we discussed already, I don't know to what extent it's possible to strip it from its courses, but wanting is representative of his truth. He wants it. This is represent what the Rebbe wants. How the Rebbe manifests himself. And this wanting translates afterwards into knowing. This knowing makes the creation.
Right. We also say that the making of the world is not all that he's about.
That's right.
As if to say this is could be one of his small projects, or it's not him himself. But here, right? But here, it's like by knowing himself.
I think we leave well enough alone. You want to translate it in executive terms.
But just
who is the manager of it there and who's the president?
But just this knowing himself seems like is more to him than what becomes world. Or is
absolutely. We always recognize this. Okay, again, this is something which we cannot verbalize, but we recognize it. What, in fact, is the difference between a human being looking at this and having a cat looking at this? The cat sees the same thing as a human being sees. And yet the human being, immediately when he sees this, he gets a certain respect for it. What is it about? Where does he get that information from? Because a human being's knowledge, sight, is not superimposed upon him. He sees it because something is stuck into his eyes and he has no choice but to see it. He sees it because he knows that there is a reality to see. This, what he sees, is always part of the reality that he is aware of, and he knows that there is a reality. He does not see this in isolation to itself. If one would see this in the middle of the desert, would he then consider, maybe I should not kick it, maybe I should not destroy it? There's nothing to it. Machat, what are you stepping on? It's nothing. But in the human environment, it's a real something, because you're talking about the basis for its existence. What brought this over here? What does it stand for? This is the knowledge. The ratzon, which precedes knowledge. The ratzon which gives significance to everything. To everything. Is there anything in your possession that he would say, destroy it, forget about it, burn it down, it's insignificant. There's no such thing. Here, there's a handkerchief. It's worth pennies, but you're not going to go and destroy it for no reason. Not because of its monetary value, because of its use, because of its significance of its existence. Because there's a human want that it should be. When I walk out of the house without a handkerchief in my pocket, I feel uncomfortable.